Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drux Milan Unboxing. I'm a correspondent from South Africa for Ring Magazine. I also have a blog, www.couchpotatofightguru.blogspot.com, and please hit the subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. Now today we're going to be talking about what is going to go down Saturday night in the UAE in Saudi Arabia, of all places. Now in a brand new Diriyah arena, constructed especially for this fight, we're going to see the much anticipated rematch for the WBA, IBF and WBO World Heavyweight Championship between Andy the Destroyer Ruiz, the first heavyweight world champion of Mexican descent, who will be rematching AJ Anthony Joshua, the British juggernaut and big superstar. Now, everybody is thinking, can Ruiz repeat his massive upset in June of this year? It's surely going to be the upset of a year, irrespective of what happens on Saturday, in a year of upsets. Now, in that fight, Andy Ruiz came in as a late replacement, couple of weeks' notice, and in the third round, Joshua put Ruiz on his backside. People thought that's the way we expected to go, and then Ruiz put Joshua down twice more in the same round, and put him down 2 times more in the 7th round to stop him and win a massive upset and become the new heavyweight champion of the world. Now this fight is in Saudi Arabia. It's in a venue that should be a neutral venue, but a lot of people are not so sure about that. Now the big question is, did Andy Ruiz have his Buster Douglas moment, like my colleague at Ring, Anson Wainwright likes to say, or his Hasim Rahman or Oliver McCall moment, coming in as a big underdog, winning the title, and then that's going to be that, and he's going to lose it back in his next fight. Now, I wonder about that. The experts are very much divided in this fight, because if we look at Buster Douglas, he caught Tyson when he wasn't so focused, and he systematically beat him down. There was never a rematch, so we don't know, but he lost all his fire that he had for that fight, blew up in weight, and got stopped by Evander Holyfield in his next fight. Now Andy Ruiz, us in the boxing game who know the sport understand it's not bodybuilding. You know, we've had many of these pudgy fighters who were great heavyweights, not great heavyweights, but at least very good heavyweights, like Tony Tubbs, Greg Page, Francesco Damiani, just to run a few off my head. So that says nothing. But Andy Ruiz, in contrast to Buster Douglas, is not coming in heavier for this fight. He's clearly lost a lot of weight. Now, so that tells me he's been training his backside off, he's taking this seriously. He's not going to just cash in his ticket to fame and run off into the sunset. He wants to win this fight. He's determined to win it. Whether that is a good thing or not remains to be seen. There are those who feel that he needs to keep with what brought him to the dance, that made him successful. Extra fitness is always a good thing. That weight can help with his power, because he's got good balance and he knows how to place his shots. The only negative thing about Andy Ruiz weight loss, the way I see it, can be that maybe he has overtrained for this fight and he's going to leave it all in the gym. We'll have to see about that. Then we have Anthony Joshua. Now he's also coming in much lighter. So what would that mean? He's a very big muscular guy, and guys with all that muscles, they tend to tire. And you know, there's been times in AJ's career when he's looked very vulnerable, where he's looked to be gassing out early in the middle of a fight. Happens against Dylan White, hurt him. Klitschko had him looking at the edge of a knockout loss, and he had the heart, and he got the ship going again, and he knocked out Klitschko. So we always knew AJ doesn't have the greatest stamina when pushed, and he doesn't have the greatest chin. But we didn't think that Andy Ruiz, who's at 6'2", with a big height disadvantage and reach disadvantage, would be the one to do it. And I think I knew Andy Ruiz could fight. Most of you watching this knew he could fight. I didn't expect his hands to be so fast on the inside, and I didn't expect him to close the gap that well. Andy Ruiz, up until that point, had only one loss against Joseph Parker, and it was a very close fight in New Zealand. So it wasn't really a very devastating or a commanding victory for Parker. So that's Andy Ruiz. So now Anthony Joshua will be prepared for him. He's not going to underestimate him, if he did in the first place, but he was gearing up to fight Jarrell Miller, much different fighter, and he got Andy Ruiz at short notice. So this time he knows what Ruiz is bringing. And the weight loss of Joshua, I think he's altered his training. He's obviously done a lot more cardio to increase his stamina. And we also see another mental change in Anthony Joshua. He was always very cool, calm and collected, like a footballer or a rugby player or golfer would be. Gentlemanly, polite, all of that. Not like you expect from many fighters who can be quite prickly and verbose. Well, in the build-up to his fight, Joshua is now exactly that. He's telling people he's going to make a statement. He is not his usual self, or perhaps this is really himself. Perhaps the previous image was a manufactured image. So what happens here? Now, I think if Joshua is going to come in here full of fire and brimstone, and he wants to make a statement, and he wants to knock Andy Ruiz into last week, it's going to backfire against him, and it's going to go the same way, because Joshua has to use what he's got, which is the reach and his height, and he's got to box a disciplined fight. If he's going to stand in the pocket and trade power punches with Andy Ruiz, Ruiz has got the quicker hands there. He's going to get there earlier than Joshua, and I think if that happens, then Andy Ruiz is going to repeat. He's going to win this fight by knockout again. There is an odd chance that Joshua can nail him as well. He did put him down on the floor, and he can roll the dice and go pedal to the metal there against Andy Ruiz. But I think then he's really rolling the dice, because in that scenario, I favor Andy Ruiz by about 80% at least. Or if I am in the Joshua camp, what I would tell him is, get through this fight, get to a win, forget about how you're going to look. He's tall, he's rangy. I see he spoke to Klitschko before Saturday's fight. He should take the exact leaf out of a Klitschko playbook here. He's got to keep that jab in Andy Ruiz's face, stick him with a jab, throw the straight right behind it, and when Ruiz gets close, hold him, lean on him, walk him backwards, and then when he's out of that again, get on your bicycle, keep jabbing, long shots, jabbing, long shots. If you long shots to the body, bend at the waist when you do that. If he does that, he might even score a knockdown with Andy Ruiz, and if he can systematically beat him up over rounds, he might score a stoppage. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to do it perfectly all night long. Andy Ruiz can close the distance, and I do expect Andy Ruiz to give Joshua nervous moments. I do expect him to perhaps wobble Joshua. I won't be surprised if he knocks him down, and I won't be surprised if he stops Joshua. But I think Anthony Joshua strikes me as kind of a cerebral thinking kind of person, that sort of fighter. So I am thinking that he is going to do a safety first approach. He's going to stick behind the jab and try and pick Ruiz off from a distance. And another thing that I've noticed, the referee for this fight is Luis Pabon from Puerto Rico, I think. Now, I remember Luis Pabon was the referee between Vladimir Klitschko and Alexander Povetkin. That fight that Klitschko won quite clearly, but an awful fight. Klitschko got away with a hell of a lot of clinching, pushing, shoving, dragging, and Pabon didn't do anything about it. And once again, Pabon is in this fight. If I was in the Andy Ruiz camp, I would object to the choice of Luis Pabon as referee. I think that's going to favor Joshua if Joshua boxes the fight that I think he should box. So I'm riding here on a former heavyweight champion of the world who also scored a Ruiz-like upset, Hasim Barak Rahman. Remember when he knocked out Lennox Lewis? I'm going with Hasim Rahman, who said in an article in Ring Magazine, this fight, Joshua can win it ugly or he can lose it pretty. If he's going to try and impress people, he's going to go for it and knock Ruiz's block off, there's a very good chance that he's going to get knocked out himself. I think then we're going to see a repeat of Ruiz winning. But I do think that there's a lot of money at stake. I'm sure Eddie Hearn would have talked to him. And I expect Joshua to box a much more calculated fight. I expect him to have a bit better cardio and stick the jab and try and get Ruiz with long shots. You'll obviously also look at the Joseph Parker fight. Change the circle of the angles at which he moves. However, I don't think Anthony Joshua is quite the boxer that Lennox Lewis was. So I do think Ruiz is going to give him some hard moments, but he's going to come through it in an ugly morning kind of way. So my pick in this fight, I'm not even going to bet my 20-year-old lounge sofa on it, but I've got to pick a side. I love Andy Ruiz. I think he'll be a very interesting guy as heavyweight champion of the world, and if he does win, there's fights that might be made easier because of promotional stuff, like fighting the winner of Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, number 2. But my gut tells me AJ Anthony Joshua is going to box a disciplined fight, keep it at long range, smother Ruiz, go through the rough spots, and he's going to win a clear points decision in the desert, in the duel in the desert there in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So guys, please leave a comment, tell me what you think, whether you agree or whether you disagree, and let's hope we have a good fight on Saturday night. And until I see you again, keep those gloves up.